Okay, so this lesson is going to discuss the idea of what we mean by set builder notation and also interval notation. All right, so the problem says this, graph the following set. All right, so it looks like this. It looks weird to some of you on this number line, and then you're going to write the set using interval notation. All right, so this what I have here, so this right here, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this over. Um, what you see here is set builder notation. So this right here is set builder notation. So that's what we mean by set builder notation. So you see this little braces on the end, and then you'll see this little symbol right here. I'm going to kind of darken it for a moment. All right, the way you read this is this way. So this is read as, and you're going to say this, the set of all, remember the outer braces here mean set. So the set of all x, such that, this symbol right here that I darkened, that means such that. So the set of all x such that, and remember what this means right here. So this means such that x is greater than -3, such that x is greater than -3, and make sure you use the word and. All right, and x is less than or equal, remember that means less than or equal to 7. All right, so that's what that means. Okay, so you read this as this. Okay, all right, now the way you want it, so what they want you to do is they want you to graph this on the number line. Well, it's pretty simple to graph. So here's what the graph's going to look like. All right, so you want to graph every real number that's between -3 and 7. So remember, this right here has an equal sign. This does not. So when you put that on the number line, just to remind you, when you put this on the number line, so since there's no equal sign, you cannot include -3. You have to use an open circle. Since there's an equal sign here, you're going to use a closed circle, and you're going to shade in every number between them. Okay? So that's the graph. All right? In terms of interval notation, you're going to put this as an interval, obviously, so interval notation. And you always go from left to right, so always go from smallest to largest. So notice there's an open circle here. So when you write this in interval notation, you're going to use parentheses. So parentheses goes with open circle. So you can say parentheses -3, comma, all the way to 7, and then closed circle is a bracket. So you have to remember parentheses, open circle, closed circle, bracket. Okay? And so that's the answer. So you wrote this on the number line. So there's your number line right here, and you put it in interval notation. You have to remember, though, open circle, parentheses, closed circle, bracket. Okay? All right, so that's number 1. Let's look at number 2. All right, so here's number 2. So number 2, you want to graph this set right here on the number line, and you want to write this set in interval notation. So remember, this set right here, that's what we mean by set builder notation. All right, so remember, this is set builder notation. Set builder notation. So set builder notation is what you see here. Now remember how you read this. The set of all x such that, and then x is greater than -2, and at the same time, x has to be less than 3. So -2, so x is greater than -2, and at the same time, it's less than 3. So that's how you read it. Okay? So remember how you read this. So it's read as, let me go ahead and write it. So it's read as the set of all x such that, remember this right here means such that, this right here means such that x is greater than, x is greater than or equal to -2, and x is less than or equal to 3. Okay, so that's how you read it. All right, but the answer, so here's your answer in terms of a graph, is very simple. So you want to graph it, right? So you're gonna put those two numbers on the number line, -2 and 3. -2. Make sure you put them in order. So -2 is to the left of 3. Notice that both of those -2 and 3 have equal signs, so both of those are included, meaning that you're going to put a closed circle on both of those. And you want to shade in every real number that's between them. So there's your graph. There's the graph. Okay, just like that. And then interval notation, when you write interval notation, that's easy. Once you have the graph, you just go from left to right. So remember, closed circle is bracket, open circle is parentheses. Well, both of those are closed. So you're going to say bracket, -2, comma, all the way to 3 with a bracket. So this interval notation represents this graph, represents this set builder notation. So this set builder notation represents this graph and also this interval notation. Okay? All right, that's number 2. It's not difficult at all. It's a very simple process. Okay, so number 3, you want to graph the set that looks like this on the number line, and you want to write it in you want to write it using interval notation. Now, notice that this right here looks different than this one did it. All right, so see how you had x was between two numbers here? Here you don't see that. You see strictly x is greater than 2. But remember how to read this. So remember this set builder notation. This is set builder notation. Set builder notation is what you see here, right here. And you're going to read it like this. You're going to read it as, and so this is read as, the set of all x. Remember, this means such that x is greater than 2. X is greater than 2. All right? And on the number line, so here's your graph. So the graph will look like this. So here's 2. Since there's no equal sign, remember you're going to use an open circle. 2 is not included. And you want to shade in every real number that's greater than 2. Don't forget to put your arrow, and there's your graph. So any real number that's shaded that's greater than 2 will satisfy this inequality. Now in interval notation, you write an interval notation from smallest to largest, so you go from left to right on the graph. So remember, open circle corresponds to parentheses. So it'll be 2 all the way to, and you're going to infinity this time. See, that's going to infinity here. Now, whenever you use infinity or negative infinity, it's always parentheses. Okay? All right, number 4. Let's go to number 4. So suppose number 4 you had this. All right, so this is number 4. So number 4, you have this set builder notation. So this is your set builder notation. So set builder notation. And that's this right here. All right, now remember how you read this. So this is read as the set of all x such that x is less than or equal to -3. So the answer in terms of your graph is this. So here's -3. Now notice there's an equal sign. So closed circle, and you want to shade in every real number that's to the left. So you're going this way. So there's your graph. So this is the graph for the set builder notation. The interval notation. Now remember, you read a graph from left to right. So as you go from left to right, notice that this graph is pointing towards that concept of negative infinity. Now whenever you deal with infinity or negative infinity, it's always going to be parentheses. So you're going from negative infinity, make sure it looks like an infinity symbol, comma, all the way to -3 with a bracket because of that closed circle, because of that equal sign. And there's your answer. So that's your interval notation. So negative infinity all the way to -3. All right. Okay, so I think that's all I wanted to look at. Let me just double check. Okay, so yeah, that's all I wanted to look at. So I think you're good with this idea of set builder notation and interval notation. Make sure you're able to read this set builder notation in words and be able to graph it and write as an interval. And be particularly careful when you get to one that points towards infinity or negative infinity, how those interval notation looks. Okay? All right, so that is the end of this lesson on set builder notation and interval notation.